My one mantra is just keep doing things. Like, don't stop. Because even when it's not perfect, even if you don't think anybody's paying attention, they are. And even if no one's paying attention, it's about learning, and you'll never learn if you don't do anything. So to write something good, you have to write a lot of bad things first. And so there's no substitute for practice. So just keep doing things. And it's something I have to tell myself all the time, because a lot of times I'm like, this video sucks, and then I never upload it. But if you just keep doing things, I truly believe you can't actually fail. It's just a matter of time.
Welcome to Africa and Us. I'm your host, Nathan Araya. On today's show, we have Evelyn from The Internets. Evelyn is an American-born Kenyan digital storyteller living in Austin, Texas. She has created her own platform to deliver her hilarious, insightful, and unapologetic perspective with a successful YouTube channel, a prolific Twitter page, and even Beyonce knows her name. I spoke with Evelyn about her viral video successes, first-generation upbringing, using social media for a cause, and her creative process for making videos. This is Africa in Us. Welcome everyone to Africa and Us. I'm your host, Nathan Araya, and I have a special guest in the building, Evelyn from The Internets.
Pew, pew, pew.
Evelyn is an American-born Kenyan digital storyteller currently living in Austin, Texas. Her video has been featured on the Beyonce Formation Tour. She's been making YouTube videos for almost 10 years now. Produced a few of my favorite viral videos called Call Black, So You've Been Publicly Dragged, and a review of Beyonce's Lemonade video.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So excited for you to be on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. I had no idea you were in Austin.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah?
But I'm here. I'm out here.
How long you been out in Austin?
Altogether, I would say 10 years.
Wow.
I left for a little bit in
Right.
like 2012, but came back.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were born in Dallas, Texas, or Fort Worth.
Okay, so it's a it's a long story.
Okay.
So being the child of immigrants,
Right.
my quote unquote where am I from is a long, complicated story. So I was born in Indiana. I don't claim the North because I was literally just born there. Like just born
Yeah?
and then left.
Yeah.
Then we moved to Ohio. Again, don't claim that because that was before I even started school.
Right.
And so then we moved to Lafayette, Louisiana, and that's where I went to all of elementary school. And then we moved to Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, when I was in junior high. So I've been here in Texas from the time I was 12. So it's like, where are you from?
Yeah.
I just say Texas.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's a lot longer than that.
Nah, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm from Dallas as well. I'm from Garland, to be
Okay,
exact.
cool. Yeah.
So we have that connection there. And your parents are from Kenya.
Yes.
Okay, so they migrated to this country.
In the 80s.
Okay, for college or?
Yes, my dad came here for, both my parents had already finished their undergrad and were doing their thing, living their lives in their mid-20s. And then I think my dad just wanted to do more. He wanted to switch careers altogether. And so he came to the US for I think his master's? I don't know what he came here for. You know how you don't really know much about your parents?
Yeah, you do, but you don't.
Yeah. So he came here for that, and my mom just followed him because that's what you do.
That's what you do with your mom, right?
Yes, that's what you do. So, yeah, that's why they came here.
That's cool. So what was life growing up as a kid, as a first-generation American with Kenyan immigrant parents?
It was not as, disconnected as maybe some other people. I've heard other people's stories where their household was completely different than going to school. But for me, my mom cook spaghetti, like she did. We had sloppy joes.
Okay.
So like she was in the mix.
Yeah.
And so like we had Capri Suns.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah. So it wasn't like this thing where inside my house was like being in Kenya and then outside my house was being in America. It was kind of blended in. But in my household, so my parents speak Kikuyu and Swahili when they have to, and I don't speak either of those.
None of it.
So in my household, it was this weird thing of like having these languages around me, but just not understanding. I think my parents just gave up.
Yes.
Just gave up.
You know what? That's my story as well. My dad's Eritrean. My mom's Ethiopian. My mom speaks Orominya.
Oh.
Amharic. My dad speaks Tigrinya, Amharic. And they both speak English.
Yeah.
And then my babysitter was Hispanic.
Oh.
So Spanish. I learned Spanish at a young age. So all those languages just blew up, and I barely speak English to this day. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, my dad tells me the story of like how he was trying to teach me Kikuyu, and I would like plug my ears up and be like, oh my God, no. And he got freaked out by that. He was like, oh no, I need her to do well in school.
Yeah.
And I cannot have her like confused by all these languages.
Right.
So then he just like gave up trying to like explicitly teach me. But my parents still speak it all the time. And like if they're like, go close the door, I'm like, I know what that means, but I can't hold a conversation.
No,
so,
I feel you.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So have you been back to Kenya?
Yes. So when I was growing up, I went about 3 times. So like every 5 years we would go. So the first time I met my extended family, I was like 4 or 5. And then the next time we went, I was like 10. And this time I had my brother.
Right.
And then the next time I went, I was like 14 or 15. And so I recently went a couple months ago in December, January. And that was the first time I've been as an adult. And the first time I've been by myself. So that was...
What was that process like?
It was scary. Just because, like, I don't know. When you're first generation, I always feel like some of the whiniest people are first generation people. Just because, like, oh my God, I don't fit in anywhere. And so it was this feeling of going, quote unquote, home. But it's not my home. It's just where everybody looks like me. So... landing in the airport and going in the line that's for blue passports, not for, Kenyan passports. It's kind of like, And then, the guy looks at my name and they're like, wait a minute. And I'm like, yeah, I was born in the U.S. What about it? So, but it was a good experience. I'm glad that I went.
Yeah, you talk about this idea of identity, and you said this a couple years ago, dealing with being Black, African, I mean, Kenya to be specific, a woman, how has your growing process with holding all of these identities been able to identify you and how you make sense of all of it?
It's interesting because I think that in society as a whole, we're asked to like rank our identities, and either it comes naturally to you and you have like an answer right away, or you don't, and you realize, wait, I can't like put one identity in front of the other. Like I made a video that was talking about how I view myself as Black before I view myself as Kenyan, and people are like, what are you talking about? What about your heritage? And I'm like, okay, but when you move through the world, no one's like, look at that Kikuyu ethnic group girl. Like no one says that. So Black is just my way of connecting with the most people at the same time, which I think is cool.
Yeah. And you were talking about something along the lines of being understood as being as something that really helps you identify with others. Yeah,
it's like, I don't know, being Black is lit. Like I always use this example, like, so I went to Miami and we were in like the CVS, and the cashier lady is like, do you need help with anything? But she's asking it in Spanish because she assumes we're Cuban. And I'm like, whoa, that's cool. Then we go to a restaurant and like the Haitian lady is talking to us in Creole because she assumes we're Haitian. And I'm like, whoa, this is cool. And so like anywhere you go, I could fit in. I mean, until I open my mouth to speak. But the idea that there's so much that connects us is cool to me. So I like that concept of like people understanding that, I don't know, we all Black.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I feel you 100. So the idea of like connecting with people. I was just talking with you earlier before we were recording
Yeah.
about your first YouTube video, which you can't remember.
No idea.
No idea.
No idea.
So what made you want to start and get on YouTube? Was it the idea of wanting to connect with people like you, or was it, you know, for any other reasons?
So making videos is a thing that I do. It just so happens that at the time in 2007, 2008, YouTube was a thing that existed. So before that, I was like posting stupid little videos on Facebook for my friends. Like once we had graduated high school and we're, you know, going our separate ways, it was kind of how I kept in touch with people. And even it's how I communicated with people I was in college with. We would send each other little videos about like life in our dorm rooms. And then I kept getting flagged for copyright on Facebook. So I was like, oh, I'm tired of this. I'm going to go to this new thing called youtube.com and upload my videos there. So it really started as a way for me to post videos for my friends. And then over time, I realized that YouTube had the potential to be more of a community where I could find people I didn't know in real life.
Right.
And at the time, YouTube had this thing called video response, where someone would post a video and you click a button and it allows you to upload a video responding directly to what the video was about. And so that's how I started to actually make friends. And so we would have like these little challenges and like tag videos, and it's how I got to know a lot of people, or at least feel like I know a lot of people on the internet. And so over time, that's kind of how it started. It started out as my friends, and then I made friends, and then I realized people who had no idea who I was were just watching me for fun. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. I mean, the idea of you finding your creative outlet. You know, when did you realize your passion for creativity? I mean, obviously being able to get on video, there's some sort of comfort that you had in, you know, projecting your narrative and speaking, you know, where did that come from? You said you had a group of friends, you know, was it a community of people that were creative that you grew up around? Was it family, or was it just you kind of figuring things out?
I think it was me figuring things out, and also my parents allowing me to, because this has always been something that I've done. So if it wasn't uploading videos to the internet, because, you know, we're that age where like we didn't grow up with the internet from birth, you know?
Right.
So when it wasn't videos on the internet, I was like burning videos to DVDs. When it wasn't DVDs, it was VHS. I have like cassette tapes, like audio cassette tapes of me like recording fake radio talk shows.
Yes, I did the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're listening to
Yes.
The Quiet Storm. So I used to do that. I don't know. I used to like take pictures at all the family functions. So I was just like always creating things and like documenting things. I was always a big documenter of things. So, and it was my parents, you know, buying me that. I had a Barbie camera. It was a real camera, but it was like Barbie all over it and had a flash. You could put film in it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when was the first time that you felt like YouTube was really, you were reaching a great amount of people on YouTube, and you kind of found your stride? When did that hit for you?
That is a good question. When did I hit my stride?
Like, was there anything that out of the ordinary that happened? Like, was there a person from Africa that reached out to you, or Germany, or was it, you know, was there ever a moment like in your DMs that you were like, whoa, I had no idea I was saying this to...
Yeah, I can't think of the first moment.
Yeah.
Just because it's been such a slow burn.
Right.
That, I mean, it's been almost a decade. So I don't remember the first time, but I do remember instances of people. I remember there was this one woman who emailed me, and she was like, I'm old enough to be your grandmother, low key, but you really helped me through like my depression. Like, you made me laugh. And I was just like, I'm just like comparatively a little kid, you know, like how I didn't know that I was able to reach someone like her. And first of all, how did she find me? I have no idea. But that was an instance where I really thought like, whoa, this is big. And because it's weird to think of it as like, whoa, this is big when it was just one person. But I think the quality of the interactions are a lot more impactful than like the quantity of the interactions, because it doesn't even immediately register to me that, you know, thousands and thousands or whatever of people have watched a video that I made. It's more of like when I meet someone in person that I really understand that those views are people and those people have like a story. So
no, that's huge. And
yeah.
I loved how you connected the idea of it being about impact and not numbers.
Yeah.
You know, especially when we're in a world where people are trying to scale and measure and, you know, but the idea of impact. I think you're going to LA this weekend and you're speaking at, I don't know if it's a seminar or conference.
VidCon, yes.
Yes, VidCon, huge. And you're talking about how to use social media for impact or cause, for a cause. How important is it for you to use your platform for a cause and for maybe others as well?
I think it's only as important as it is to the individual. So there are some people where talking about certain causes doesn't impact them the way it impacts others. So I definitely don't think you should force it. And we have this tendency to like drag or shame people for like not speaking up about XYZ.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of value in realizing when you're not qualified, or even when you're not passionate enough to make a video about it, because it's there up forever. Even when you delete it, there's somebody who like still downloaded the video and will re-upload it, you know? So it's only as important as it is to the person. But for me personally, it's not like my entire brand, but there are instances where I just cannot not talk about something. And so like, for example, when I made Colin Black, that was after Sandra Bland was murdered. And I couldn't go on without addressing, in my own way, because it wasn't like a serious sort of video, it was still funny, but I couldn't go on without addressing how it made me feel. And for other people, like I haven't made a video about every, you know, police brutality case. I just made one about the one that impacted me in a way that kind of prevented my day-to-day life from happening. So I feel like you only have a duty to talk about what you want to talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that creative process, especially even that video, Colin Black. You know, you experienced what everyone across the world, you know, is seeing and experiencing, but on a different level when you're Black and you identify, you know, with things like that.
Yeah.
In America, you know, what was that process like for you to be able to experience it, internalize it, process it, and then make a video about it? Because there has to be some sort of, you know, tactic or strategy to communicate effectively, right? Yeah.
So that video was a collaboration with a website called For Harriet. And so they contacted me and they were like, hey, if you want to make a video about something this year, let us know. And I was like, will do. And I didn't contact them for months because I didn't have anything. And so after Sandra Bland, so the way I internalized it, I definitely had a panic attack at work. And then after that happened and I was able to process it more and like read the news and cry all the time. And after I did that whole thing that unfortunately we had to do, I was like, okay, there's a video here. How can I make this not depressing as hell?
Right.
Like, what are my own thoughts that are running through my head? And my own thoughts were like, girl, I just had a panic attack at work. Why can't I call in Black? Like, this is a medical emergency. So then I was like, okay, there's a video there. How do I talk about something very serious in a funny way? And I figured that talking about calling in Black would definitely relate to a lot of people. So I sat down and I wrote the video, and then I shot it. And I think I did it all in like a couple days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How long was the video?
I don't know, maybe like 5 to 7 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a couple of days. Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you that question as well, because you made a video called this is not sustainable.
Yeah.
Addressing the effort and long amount of time that goes into making vlogs and videos. And for example, what may seem to be a simple 1-minute video can take a couple of days to make. What does your creative process look like in general to make a video? What equipment do you use? Do you have a team of people? Those are things that a lot of people want to know.
No team. Me, myself, and I, like Beyonce said. So yeah, no team. I'm just thinking of things as they come up. I'm also not on a schedule. Like there are those YouTubers who are like, hi, my name's Evelyn. I make a video every Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. That is not me. I just go out in the world and I like experience the world, or I watch TV, listen to music, and like something an idea sparks in my head, and then I like say, okay, I gotta write about this. And sometimes after I have the idea, I will not write about it for months, and I'll circle back and I'll be okay, I'm ready to write about this. So I'll write the video, and like it'll take me a day or two, like off and on, to just write a loose script of what I'm gonna say. And that's just because it saves me time from editing if I write the video first. So I write it and then I film. That doesn't take a long time. It's the writing that really takes the longest amount of time. Film it, edit it, everything by myself, upload it. I recently started using a service called rev.com to close caption my videos, because I used to do that by myself. So now somebody else does it.
Is that a paid service?
Yeah, but it's like $1 per minute of video.
Okay.
So if you have like a 12-minute video, $12.
Not bad.
So yeah.
What do you use? I mean, so you're a writer first. So you write.
I write it out in my notes on my MacBook, just the Notes app. Okay. And then I film the video in my bedroom usually, with I either use the Canon T2i, which is like a relic in technology years, or I use the Sony Alpha 5000, which has like the cool little flip up screen.
Right, so you can see yourself.
And I just put that on a little cheap tripod that I got from Target years ago. And I use my phone, the voice memo app, to record audio at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a Rode mic. I have more stuff that I use for work than I use for myself. So like I just use my phone to record audio instead of like a lapel mic and all the other things that I have. Yeah, and then I just edit on my MacBook with Adobe Premiere, but I used iMovie for a long ass time.
Really?
Yeah. So people are always like, I need all this, stuff. And I'm like, no, you don't, girl. It's the same videos that I made using iMovie. It's a struggle to use iMovie, but you can do it. So yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. I think many people have this idea of, you need a full production to kind of make a great video, but to hear you just say that, hey, I just use my phone as my voice on the voice memo, and I have this and this camera, so, anyone that's aspiring to kind of do what you're doing, I think it's important for them to see the feasibility. Yeah. But then it's a lot of work at the end of the day too, right?
It's a lot of work, yes.
Yeah, so a lot of thinking, a lot of writing to go into these videos.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm thinking about making a video about this, but the way I write my videos, I'm also performing my video. So a lot of people are like, oh, it's like real and raw. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but there is a performance aspect to it. Like I can decide to say my words monotone, or I can decide to be like energetic. And there's a way I'm performing my own words, to make it sound like kind of off the fly. Right. Like my script is not memorized by any means. So
you just have bullet points?
It's like bullet points, or even like I was watching Dave Chappelle's stand-up, and he was talking about how he writes the punchline and figures out how to get there later. That's what I do. Yeah? So I just write the funny part, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to connect this, but I just think it's funny. That's awesome. So I do that, and then when I talk, I'm like improvising a little bit with also knowing what I'm going to say in the end. Right. So I don't know. I feel like there's also an art to make things look easy. So. Right. That's a skill set within itself. It is, to make something look effortless when it's really not. So a lot of people also want to know, when you're out there, in these internet streets, you're visible in front of everyone, you're going viral, like you have
and you still do. How do you make money online?
Man, I be trying to figure it out too. So you can either make money through advertising. So when you go on YouTube, there are ads, I think on your desktop. I don't know about, no, it should still be on your phone. There are ads that run on top of your video. And as a YouTuber, I don't have control over which ads play. Like, I don't know if you're going to get a mascara ad or like a Carfax ad.
Right.
I have no idea. But I get paid every time someone clicks through to the ad. And I'm like, who does that?
Exactly.
No one does. I have ad block, me, myself, personally. So I don't necessarily rely on that. But you can make a little bit of money from there. And then you can also make money through brand partnerships. And, a brand says, hey, Nate, we really like your podcast. For a 45-second drop, here's some money. And they're like, okay. So that works.
Do you reach out to them, or do they usually reach out to you? How does that work?
Both. So sometimes brands reach out to me, and a lot, like 98% of the time, it's not a good fit. So I guess that's another thing to note, is like, just because you get approached doesn't mean it's something you should do.
Right.
So then only 2% of the time, it's a company that I actually want to work with and like have more discussions with. And then every once in a while, I'm trying to be better about it this year. I'm actually trying to pitch more to brands. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, so advertising on YouTube, brand deals. A lot of people use Patreon. Which is like a website that was created by a YouTuber, by the way, which I think is cool.
Nice.
And so the people who are fans of you can pledge to pay you like $1 a month or like $10 a month in exchange for ad-free content. So like the promise is, okay, I don't want to, advertise to you all the time, so pay me a little something, and
Right.
I can be able to do that. So I don't have a Patreon, but that is a thing people do.
I feel you.
Yeah.
So you're taking a gap year this year.
Yes.
You were working at a job, you said, for 5 years.
Yup.
And decided to kind of break away and take this gap year.
Yeah.
It's very unconventional.
Yes.
With, how we have society. You go to school, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, your kids have kids. Like there's this cycle of life, right?
Yes.
That exists. How important? Well, first of all, where were you working? Why did you decide to take that this gap year off? In quitting. And then what are you focusing on this year? What does that look like for you?
Woo! So I can't believe it's already June. Like what? Actually, it's almost the end. It's the middle of June. It's crazy.
When did you quit?
I quit in December. So I can't believe it's been like 6 months. But so I left my job at a company called Texture Media. The website I worked for was naturallycurly.com. I was a social media manager. Then I was a video producer. Then I was the director of video strategy. And so after a couple years there, I was like, okay, I don't think there's anywhere to go. Like I've hit the ceiling that exists in, that company's structure. And I don't want to be there anymore. But also I felt like I had learned everything I could learn. And so when you find yourself running into the same issues and they're not going to get resolved, I just realized, okay, I've learned everything I could learn. So many different skills. Like I learned so much there. So I felt like it was time to kind of branch off and be a free agent, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you learned everything that you did. And you're taking this gap year. What are you focusing on this year? What does a gap year even look like?
I don't know what a gap year looks like. I thought I was gonna like garden or like, be on my stay-at-home mom with no kids type of lifestyle. I think right now I'm focusing on how to create a routine for myself and how to learn for the sake of learning. I think that when you work in a corporate structure, especially one that you're kind of going uphill the entire time, like you have to be scrappy and like resourceful and your brain is occupied by trying to solve problems all the time, you don't get to just like create for the sake of creating. So I want to take this time to like learn new skills. I'm trying to take a screenwriting class.
Nice.
I wanted to take a sketch comedy writing class, but I missed the deadline because I'm a procrastinator. Yeah. So I'm trying to do all those things and work on my like marketing materials. So like I'm trying to design a website. I don't think I'm ever going to update my LinkedIn. I just gave up on that, but at least have, you know, a pitch deck. So when I do try and talk to these brands, I have, you know, something to give them to be like, hey, give me your money now. Right. But yeah, I'm just chilling, you know, trying to travel a lot more. One thing I felt like when I had a full-time job is, you know, those like airline glitches, and everybody went to Morocco one year. Yeah. And I was like, I wanted to go to Morocco, but I was at work. So now I'm like, please glitch. Somebody have a glitch so I can travel. So yeah.
How do you manage to like, you know, with being a creative and funding, like, for example, your gap year, did you kind of just go into this year saying, hey, I got this money saved up for this year. This is what I can be able to do, you know, to have, you know, to be able to do things like this. How do you make this, how do you make it work?
I definitely think that's important to like reveal and talk about. So, the 5-6 years that I was at my job, I had that paycheck and that paid for my life. And then everything I did on the side, whether it was editing videos for like a freelance client or being on YouTube or having a brand deal, all of that money went into savings. And so occasionally, you know, I had to get new tires and, you know, other grown-up stuff. But over 5 years, I saved my money for 5-6 years. And that was enough for me to be like, okay, I feel comfortable enough now that I can quit my job and kind of be okay. I also moved out of my apartment and in with some friends. So like as I was saving money, I also like reduced my bills. Good. So I don't live alone anymore, but I live with 2 fabulous people that I love very much. And, you know, I don't have to pay for like internet and things like that, you know? So it's just like finding ways to save money and then also saving my money already for the past year. So that's how I fund my life now. And so like every month I give myself a paycheck, quote unquote. Right. And so it's the money. That's adulting 101 right there. So it's the money I've calculated that I need per month to just like live. Right. So yeah.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. What did your parents think of this idea?
I think, and to be honest, I wasn't very communicative with them about how I was feeling at work. So I don't think they realized just how unhappy I was. They thought I just like quit my job. And I think over time, these past couple months, they realized more and more like, oh, you were not happy there. You had to leave. You saved your money. Like all these things that I didn't tell them because I was just like this distraught 20-something. So in the beginning, they were like, what is she doing? Like, I mean, but they were also thinking to themselves, she's an adult. I mean, there's only so much we can worry. It's up to her to tell us when she needs help. So I remember I took my parents to Fredericksburg for Thanksgiving, a little, you know, trip because I need to get out the house. They're new empty nesters. Right. And so my dad was just like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine.
Was it that dramatic?
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yeah. And I was like, no, yeah, I'm fine. He was like, okay, well, what do you need me to do? And I was like, I need you to trust that I'm fine. And he was like, got it. And I think when I said that, he realized that I know what I'm doing enough. Like, I'll never know completely what I'm doing. Nobody does. But I think it reassured him that I'm fine. And when I do need his help, I'll ask. Right. So, yeah. They're not, like, mad or anything. They're kind of just like, she's off doing her own thing. Yeah. They never really knew what I did to begin with. Yeah. So, it's like, it's kind of just more of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, immigrant parents, you know, they have their own expectations of what they want their children to live up to. But it's interesting that your parents allowed you to kind of, you know, explore and be who you are. No, that's just fascinating. That's great.
Yeah, I definitely don't have that story of like, you must be an engineer. I don't. That's not part of my story. That is all.
Yeah, being a creative was just like, okay, you're doing what? You're going to be a communications major? What? What you are communicating right now? Why you need to learn that in school?
See, what you should have done is what I did. I went to school for journalism. And so what you have to do with parents is that you have to let them be able to visualize something. So they can't visualize communications. But if you're like, oh, I'm going to journalism school, they'll be like, okay, CNN.
You are so right about that, because when I was in the house and I told my mom I'm being a communications major, she said, oh, like Anderson Cooper. I'm like, is that the only?
Yes.
You're going to be on TV? I'm like, all right, yes, mom. Yes, that's what I'm doing.
You just got to let them live their dream and just believe that.
Exactly. So one day I was asking you as well, going through your experiences of, making all these amazing YouTube videos and connecting with people all over the world and impacting many lives. What's one value or mantra that you embrace in your work and life today?
My one mantra is just keep doing things. Like, don't stop. Because even when it's not perfect, even if you don't think anybody's paying attention, they are. And even if no one's paying attention, it's about learning, and you'll never learn if you don't do anything. So to write something good, you have to write a lot of bad things first. And so there's no substitute for practice. So just keep doing things. And it's something I have to tell myself all the time, because a lot of times I'm like, this video sucks, and then I never upload it. But if you just keep doing things, I truly believe you can't actually fail. It's just a matter of time. So yeah,
I agree 110%.
yeah.
Well, that's cool, and I appreciate you being on the show today and just spending your time with me. I know you got a flight to catch tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it seems like you're all over the internet.
I'm trying to be more like all over the internet, even more.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's next for you? Like what is?
I'm trying to work on a show that, so I'm really into like beauty, but not take myself too seriously, because I don't feel like I fit in the whole beauty space. So I want to make a series that is about like where comedy meets beauty and culture. And I think there's just so much funny stuff there. So to make like a docu-series and hopefully pitch it to somebody like an Essence or Ebony or like Refinery 29 or just, I don't know, Vice. I don't know, somebody needs this. I think it's funny. I want to make one episode is going to be about like black girls who can't cornrow, because I'm one of them. So yeah, it's a struggle.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm excited, and we'll definitely, stay tuned to all your great work coming up.
Yeah.
And looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And if people just need to reach out to you, it's just Evelyn on the internets.
It's on Instagram. It's Evelyn from the Internets. On Twitter, it's EVZ, which is EVZ. EV 5 E's ZY.
The significance of the 5?
No.
I was looking for something deep.
Nope.
Not at all. 5 E's, that's what it is?
Yeah. But that's where you can find me. I'm most active on Instagram, so holler at me there.
Okay, for sure. Well, we do appreciate you. Thank you for being on the show once again.
Thanks for having me.
This concludes our episode of Africa and Us. Thank you for listening. Be sure to share the episode and follow the journey on social media with me at Nate Araya. Be encouraged.